Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome to our HiSET RIS class. So this is a RIS Academy, RIS meaning writing, reading, science, and social studies, as those are the subjects that you'll be focusing on in this class. So my name is Paige Keller, and I am your instructor. And welcome to our remote environment. We will mostly be communicating via the private chat feature in this class, so make sure that you are familiar with it. I have put instructions on the screen here on how to access it. So every day we'll be communicating back and forth privately, you and I, about your course of study using that private chat feature. So it's important that you become familiar with that. Also, all of our coursework for this class is located on Blackboard, which I described to you in the welcome email. So make sure that you, if you're not already, that you're able to log in, have a separate browser open, and that you're logging in, that you're able to log into Blackboard. So welcome to class. Thank you again so much for being here. I'm excited about it. We're going to go ahead and get started. So like I said, my name is Paige Keller. I'm your instructor. My email address is on the screen here. And if you are here, then I'm guessing that means that you were able to receive emails from me because I had emailed you with the class link. So if you would like to know more about me, go on to Blackboard. I have a little bio section on our Blackboard page where you can get to know me a little bit more if you're interested. So I wanted to also introduce our career coach. I'm sure that you know her. Her name is Teresa, and she is who you have been working with to get enrolled. So Teresa is actually here today, and she just wanted to kind of introduce herself and talk to you about some of the things that she can do to help you. So Teresa, I am going to turn the floor over to you. It's all yours.
Good morning, everyone. I do apologize. I was having some issues with my computer this morning, so I had to switch over to my phone. So I hope everyone can hear me okay. So as Paige said, my name is Teresa Wentland. Most of you I probably scheduled for this class or have worked with you in the past. Just a couple things about what I am here for and how I can help. I can help with all scheduling needs. So I help you with scheduling classes. If your schedule changes and you need to switch classes, or maybe you're taking 2 classes and you just want to do 1, I can help with that, dropping a class, adding a class. I also will help you when it is time to get started with your official testing. So I will help you schedule qualifying tests. Paige will let me know that you are ready, and I will help you get registered for qualifying. Once you pass that, I will help you get registered for your official test. Also, all of you have taken a CASAS assessment. That is something that we are required by the Department of Education to give all students. And once you reach a certain amount of hours of instruction, we do actually have like a post assessment for you. So that is something I will also get scheduled with you. I also can help if you are looking for some information on maybe some community resources that might be available to you, and that you maybe are finding some struggles or having some barriers within the classroom and think that maybe there's something out there in the community that could help. I can help you research that, let you know how to apply for things. I will send out information about some things as they come across my desk. Typically, I will send those out through email. Sometimes I will send them to Paige as well to make sure all the information gets to you all. I can also help with job searching, college planning. If you want someone to look over your resume, help you create a resume, interview skills, anything like that, I can help with. We really want to help you get your diploma, but also help you make plans for your next step after this. Most students are here because they need this for something else, and I want to help you get to that something else. We can set up an appointment to meet separately. We can chat through email, whatever is best for you. Please don't hesitate to reach out if that is something you are looking for some help with. And then the last thing I do want to talk about is attendance. And like I said, I was having some issues with my computer earlier, so I'm not sure if Paige already touched on this, but attendance is mandatory. We do talk about it in our orientation. That, again, is something required by the Department of Ed, but we do adhere to it because we know that if you're not in class, you're not going to get the materials that you need in order to succeed and earn that diploma. So during this first week, if classes are missed, you'll hear from Paige, and then you'll also hear from myself if we don't see you again after that second week. So you will get to basically check-in emails, and then if we don't hear back from those, then we will have to drop you from the class, and then we can get you restarted again for the next session. So if you have questions about that, please let me or Paige know. But again, you'll get 2 emails before anything like that would happen. So does anyone have any questions for me right off the bat?
Does anybody have any questions for Teresa? If so, then go ahead and just use the raise your hand feature, and she'll be happy to address any questions that you have. It seems like they're good. Thank you so much, Teresa. I appreciate you.
Yes, thank you all. Have a great class.
Okay, have a good day. All right, so there you have it. Teresa is here and invested in your success just like I am. So she's just another layer of support. And we'll kind of talk about the testing process, and she'll come up frequently. So I'm glad that she was here and able to introduce herself to y'all. Make sure that you have her email handy because you'll need to be communicating with her as well. So her email here is on the screen, and I'm sure that you've been emailing back and forth with her at some point anyways. So the email address that I sent the welcome email to that had this class link, that is the email that we have on file for you. So if that isn't the email that you prefer, then just make sure that we know that, and I can update our records, but make sure that we have the email for you on file that you'd like for us to use. We will be communicating primarily via email outside of the classroom. So I just want to, today is going to be an awful lot of me talking, just kind of giving you an overview of the class and the layout of the class, the program expectations, things like that. So primarily, whenever you log in to class, then we will talk via the private chat feature, and we'll get something figured out for you to work on for that day, and you'll go work on it, and then you'll check in with me via the private chat feature with questions and progress reports, and that's primarily how we're going to be communicating. So today is a lot of me talking, but that's not how the class is going to be normally going. So just a heads up. So here are some things that you'll need to get in the habit of doing for every class. One is that you're really best served working on an actual laptop or a desktop, and Blackboard and this virtual classroom, which is an extension of Blackboard, but Google Chrome is the browser that you should be using. I have seen students work on a tablet, but it's really not ideal, and it's really not ideal on a phone. So if your only source, like your only electronic that you have is your phone, then you're probably going to have a hard time in the class. If you need to, I believe that there's a service available where you can through the DMAC Urban Campus where you can check out student laptops. So I just want to make sure that you're all squared away to have an easy time in the class, and like I said, Google Chrome is what you need to work on. And also, if you have an actual desktop or laptop, that's going to be your best bet. You can reach out to Teresa if you think that the device that you have isn't sufficient, and she can help you secure something else. Keep your mic, your video and your mic muted during class. There are really very few times where you actually need to unmute yourself. Because of this private chat feature is how we will primarily communicate. But if I ask a question or whatever, then right by your button to mute yourself or unmute yourself, you'll see that little figure that has their hand up. That's the raise your hand feature. So if you have a question, or if I ask a question and you're wanting to respond, then you can use that raise your hand feature, and then I'll call on you. But if you could for sure make sure that you keep yourself muted, just so we don't have so much background and noise. And there's not really, there will be some times where I'll call on you or ask for you to respond, things like that. But even that, you can respond in the chat. So there's not often times where you would actually need to be unmuted. Like I said, I primarily use the chat feature to communicate. So there is a group chat feature and a private chat feature. If there's something that would pertain to the whole group, then I'll drop something in that group chat. But mostly we are utilizing the private chat feature that's just between you and I, because everybody in here is working at a different pace, is working on a different thing. So some people only have one test left. Some people are brand new to the program. So since everybody's at such a different spot, and since we have such a small amount of time that we actually have together, then it's, making the best use of your time to just have you focus on what it is that you need to focus on. And since all of our content is on Blackboard, which I'll share my screen with you here in just a little bit, and we'll kind of walk through Blackboard a little bit, but you don't have to be doing the same thing as everybody else. You can be doing what it is that you need to be working on, and just chatting with me about your progress and any questions that you have. So after you get logged into class here at our virtual classroom, then you'll also want to open up a separate browser and get logged on to Blackboard. There are a couple of other sites that we'll use too. Readtheory.org is one, quill.org is one. So just depending on what it is that you're working on for that day, then you'll also want to get those pulled up and get logged in so that you can move easily throughout, back and forth between this classroom and whatever it is that you're working on. Also, I'll circle back around to it, but it's worthy of a little bit of attention. Make sure that whatever the email that I sent you the class link to, that's the email that I'll use. So if you don't want me to use that one, or you want me to use a different one, then just tell me what email address is a good one for you. And that's where I'll communicate when I need to send an email. Sometimes I have to cancel class, namely because my kids get sick usually. But if for some reason we're not going to be meeting that day, if I have to cancel class that day, then I'll send you an email and let you know that. So it's also a good habit to get into, to just at the beginning of class, just make sure you check your email every day. We'll kind of come back to that, but I wanted to make sure I got it out there. So just to kind of recap, for a smooth experience, you'll want to make sure that you are using Google Chrome and that you have an actual computer or laptop. Make sure you keep your video and your mic muted, and plan to communicate with me via the private chat feature. We have to be able to communicate via email, so make sure that you're checking your email at the beginning of each class, and the email address that I have on file for you is the one that you prefer to use. You want to make sure that you are comfortable getting logged onto a Blackboard And if you need your username, you don't have to create an account. As a student at DMAC, you already have an account on Blackboard. It's just a matter of you figuring out what your username and password are. And if you don't know that, then Teresa can help you with that. So you would just email her and say, I need my username and password for Blackboard, and she can provide you with that information. Read Theory and Quill are other sites that we'll use. We'll talk a little bit more about here later on, but basically at the beginning of class, when you get logged in, then you'll want to also pull up these separate browsers and get logged into them so that you're all situated and ready to roll whenever it's after I'm done sharing announcements. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the actual HiSET program. So you should be aware that in order to obtain your HiSET credential, which, like I said, everybody in this class is coming in at a different spot. And I'm talking about within the program and also just your background experience. So everybody is doing something a little bit different. Everybody has a little bit different needs. Everybody's at a little bit different spot in the process, but everybody's ultimately trying to obtain your HiSET credential. I mean, that's what everybody's here to do. So in order to do that, then you have to pass 5 official tests. In the 5 tests that you'll have to pass, one is reading, one is writing, one is science, one is social studies, and one is math. So in this class, then you'll be having the freedom to work on the literacy subject. So basically anything but math. So we have content for everything but math on our Blackboard page. We will work together this first week to just try to get through like an introductory unit. And then from there, that will give me an idea of where you're at and what you need to work on. And we'll kind of pivot our course of study to meet your needs specifically. All of our course content is on our Blackboard page. So like I said, I will share my screen here in just a little bit and we can kind of walk through our Blackboard page together. But all of the homework, all of the instructional videos, everything that you need for those 4 subjects, reading, writing, science, and social studies, are all on our Blackboard page. So it's important that you're able to access that. You'll also be expected to access some other outside websites. Like I said, quill.org is one, readtheory.org is one. We'll talk a little bit more about those. But I am able to monitor your progress on those sites if you join my classroom. So those are other things those are also things that you'll be working on during class. So you'll be logged into this virtual classroom during our entire class session, but you'll be working on outside platforms and you'll be navigating between those and this class throughout our scheduled class time and checking in with me in the private chat to monitor your progress and to report your results and to ask any questions. So at the beginning of class, you'll get logged in, you're going to keep yourself muted, you're going to be getting situated, getting your other browsers pulled up, getting situated on there. And then once everyone has had a chance to join the class, then I will share announcements. And I'll also be touching base with everybody via the private chat feature, kind of at the beginning of class. Once I'm done with announcements, then you'll go work on whatever Blackboard lessons or outside sites or whatever it is that we've decided or determined for you for that day to be work on, then you'll go work on that during class, always checking back in with me throughout the class session in that private chat feature to report your results, ask questions, etc. At the end of class, so our class meets from 9 to 11 every day, Monday through Thursday. We don't meet on Fridays. And we don't have class next Monday, by the way. I just found that out today that the college is closed. So I was going to take the day off because I just found out that my kids don't have school on next Monday. And then they're like, yeah, we don't either. So I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I don't really need to take the day off. It's closed, the colleges. But wanted to, I'll share that announcement too, but just put a little note, put a little reminder on your calendar or something that next Monday, so a week from today, on the 17th of January, we don't have class. The college is closed. Okay, I got off topic a little bit. We're at the end of class. So I always like to leave a little bit of time at the very end of class in case anybody has any questions that they want to pose, either just to me or that would be good for the greater group. And I also always want to try to make sure that you are able to leave this class with it buttoned up. You don't have to feel like you were interrupted, or you don't feel like you have to go and work for 15 more minutes outside of the class. Like, I expect for you to be working hard during our class time, and I also recognize that you have other priorities. So let's utilize our class time during class time, and then you can work on whatever else it is outside of class that you need to work on, but without having to worry about this class. So usually about 10 or 15 minutes before the end of class, then I will start saying, hey, just a heads up, we're just about out of time for the day, so go ahead and find a good spot to stop, whatever it is that you're working on, and let me know if you have any questions. And so I will kind of leave that last 10 or 15 minutes of class for you to finish up what you're working on and to ask me questions. So yeah, that's kind of how you can expect from the day to day for class. Here's some other important class procedures. So one is, I would like for you to try to create a routine around our class time and stick with it. So just like if we were meeting in person, then you'd maybe take the kids to school, stop and get some coffee, and then come into the classroom, and then you would be there during that time. That's kind of what I would like for you to think of this class in terms of. So we have class from 9 to 11 every day. So that means that you need to carve out time from 9 to 11 every day to be present with our class material. I know that whenever you're working from home, it can be kind of distracting. That's why I would like for you to try to create some routine around this class. So find a spot where you can designate like a workstation or a workspace, that's where you go to have class. And while you're there, make sure that you have boundaries set around that. So people, if you have other people in your household, they know, like, hey, whenever I'm here during this time, I'm working on my schoolwork. So it's just like if I was actually not here, if I was just at school. That's kind of how you want to think about it. And also, if you should get like a notebook that's just for this class, and that's where you'll record your results for our daily assignments, and make sure that you date them and that you label them, because sometimes you'll report your scores to me, and then because I'm human and make mistakes, sometimes I don't get them recorded on my end. And so if you are able to just cruise back and be like, oh yeah, I did that on Wednesday, I got 15 out of 20 on it, then that's handy, right? And it's also good for you to just make class notes and stuff. So have a designated workspace, create a routine around our class time, and get some sort of a notebook that is just for this class, that a running notebook, so that you can keep all of your stuff for this class in that notebook and be able to go back and access it later. Okay, I have a video that I am going to send to in the chat here. I need to pull it up here just a second. So this is about, I think it's about 10 minutes, or I think it's about 12 minutes, I think. Hang on a second here. Okay, so I'm going to put this link in the group chat to you. And So you'll click on the link and it'll pop up like a PowerPoint. You need to go to the very top and hit presentation and then, or hit slideshow and then go to from the beginning. So here, I think I'm just gonna share my screen and show you. Hang on here for me just a second. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen real quick and I'm going to show you what you'll see whenever I, oh, this is what I meant to do. Okay, so I'm going to send you this link, and whenever you click on the link, then you're going to see something that looks like this. Okay, you'll want to come up here and hit slideshow, and then come over here and hit from beginning.
Welcome to our fall 2020.
And it'll automatically start for you. So I'm going to get that link sent to you. Here, just a second. It says fall 2020, but this is spring 2022. But the information still applies. Okay, so I just put a link in the chat. I'm going to give you, let's see, 9:55 is, I want you to have this video watched by 9:55. When you're done watching the video, then send me a chat and say done or watched it or back or here. And I'm going to give you time right now to go watch this video, and then we'll resume class at 9:55. All right, we got about 1 more minute and then we're going to get started. So if you are taking a quick break, then go ahead and get back to your computer and get situated, and we're going to move on here in 1 minute. All right, it's 9:55, so we are going to forge ahead. Like I had said in the chat, if you have any questions about anything you saw in that video, please let me know. I'm more than happy to address them. And it's all information that's definitely pertinent to you on your journey. So was there anybody that had any questions about anything you saw in the video? If so, go ahead and raise your hand for me. Okay, it sounds like you're all squared away, so that's good. So we are going to move on. So some of you, like I said, everybody is at a different spot in the process of obtaining your HiSET, and some of you are brand new to the program, and that's awesome. I'm glad to have you here. I'm excited to work with you. And some of you are returning students. So if I have just a little shout out here to my returning students. I just wanted to say hello and thank you for coming back to me, and thank you for continuing on with your coursework. I'm so proud of you for just forging ahead. So just wanted to give a quick shout out to say hello to all of my returning students. If you are returning students, here's a couple of things. If I recommended you for qualifying, then make sure you get your qualifying test scheduled with Teresa. If you took a qualifying test and you passed, then make sure you work with Teresa to get your officials scheduled. If you have taken or passed any officials or qualifying tests since I last had you in class, please update me on that so that I know where you're at. Just make sure that I know if you've had any progress towards your completion since we've last spoken, then please let me know that, so that I have an idea of where you're at and what you need to be working on. And then also we're going to go over the syllabus next, and the rest of this is going to be pretty much review for you if you've been in the class before. So at this point, you kind of know the routine. If you want to go ahead and get on Blackboard or read theory or whatever and get started working, then that's fine with me. Just make sure that, like, you know how to do it. Check in with me before you start a lesson, whenever you end a lesson. If you have questions, if you finish something, let me know what it was and how you did, etc. Okay, so basically the three main sites that you'll be utilizing for this class is our Blackboard site, a site that is quill.org. This will help you with a writing practice. If you already have a quill.org account, like if you have already used that platform with another instructor, then you can use, you just log in. You don't have to create a new account or anything. You can still continue. You just need to use this bison-amount. That is the class code to join my class. So it should give you an option of entering a class code to kind of switch classes or to join classes. Bison-amount is what you would want to enter to join my class. If you've never used quill.org before, then not necessarily right now, because I have some riveting information I need to be sharing with you about the syllabus, but at some point we'll have you create an account on quill.org, and bison-amount is the class code that you'll enter when it prompts you to. So for Quill, once you have created your account and joined my class, then you'll let me know that. And then I will assign an initial diagnostic test for you. I think it's maybe 20, 25 questions. So you'll take that test and then you'll let me know once you've completed it. And then I'll analyze the results and be able to provide you with additional assignments that are based on where you showed you needed improvement. So then another website that we'll be utilizing is readtheory.org. Again, if you already have a readtheory.org account, like you've already created one because of a different instructor or something, then you can invite me to be your teacher, or you could join our class by using this class code, this BFXMWKHJ. If you've never used readtheory.org before, again, kind of the same thing. You would create a student account. You would enter that class code in order to join my class. And then whenever you first get logged on, then it will say something like, do you want to get started with the pretest or something like that? And you'll have a pretest that you'll take. I believe it's 10 questions. And the purpose is the same. It's trying to figure out where you're at reading wise, because after you complete that, then it'll say something like, all right, are you ready to get started on the program? You tell it, yes, you want to get started on the program. And then it will present you with a passage to read. So you read the passage and then you'll answer questions about that passage. So the initial reading level is leveled to where you tested in on that pretest, those 10 questions at the very beginning. So they'll cater to that reading level. So all of the quizzes or passages that you get are at that level. Well, once you have mastered that level, then they will give you a little bit harder. And then once you master that, a little bit harder. So you're starting here and then you're going like this with your reading level. So, and then you just keep taking quizzes. So this is great because, first of all, that's what you do for the reading test, right? For HiSET, you read a passage and you answer questions about it. But also the content of the passages that you're reading are often lend themselves to social studies and science. So you are really kind of getting 2 for 1, right? You're practicing and improving your reading, but you're also getting information that could help you on the science or social studies test too. So Blackboard, I'll share my screen here with you in just a little bit and we'll kind of walk through our Blackboard page together. But Blackboard, quill.org, readtheory.org. Like I said, you don't need to do, if you don't have an account with quill.org or readtheory.org, then we'll do that in class sometime this week. You don't necessarily have to do it right now. And I guess the next scenario would be if you are a returning student and you're already all set up on Quill and we're working on it, and on Read Theory and we're working on it last cycle. You don't have to do anything. You could just pick up where you left off. You can just log in and get going. So those are the websites that we will be utilizing in addition to this virtual classroom. Okay, so now I want to look over the syllabus together. This is what I had sent. I had actually attached this to the email that I sent you whenever I sent the welcome email. But this is just a quick overview. We need to make sure that we're all on the same wavelength here. We're all in the same understanding about the course and the policies and the procedures. So yeah, like I said, this class is a lot of me. This first couple of classes is just a lot of me talking. So just enjoy it while it lasts, because I don't talk this much usually. Okay, so here we go. Our class is our class number is 26440, and I draw that to your attention because whenever you get on Blackboard, then you'll need to find our class, and that's how you can reference it. There'll be a whole list of courses, and you'll have to find our class, which is HiSET Risk Academy, and the number is 26440. Okay, here's my email address, plkeller@dmac.edu. If you So email is really the preferred and the best way to communicate with me. I do have an office phone, but I'm not at my office. I haven't been for an awful long time, since March of 2020. So if you call that phone number and you leave a message, then it will kick that message to my email. So then I'll be able to listen to it through my email, but then I don't have a way to call you back. So just email me. Emailing is really the best. Here's the class link to this classroom, what we are all in right now. I am your instructor. I've been teaching with the HiSET program since 2013 is when I got started. I started teaching at DMAC in 2012 with teaching some credit classes, and then around 2013 is when the state of Iowa made the transition from GED to HiSET. And that was a big undertaking and quite the task. So they needed all hands on deck. So that's when I got started working with the HiSET program, and I just fell in love with it. I have the best job ever. I love the job. I love the students. I love the program. It's great. So like I said, I am working from home now, but before we went virtual, then my home base is at the Southridge Center, but I've really taught classes all over. I taught a lot of classes at the West Des Moines Human Services site. I've taught them at FMK, at the Des Moines Capital Center, a lot of classes at Urban. So I have taught classes at several different DMAC locations, and I have my bachelor's degree in psychology and a master's in teaching. I'm actually currently working on a second master's degree too in mental health counseling. So that's just a little bit about me. Let's see, so this class is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday mornings from 9 to 11. Our first class is today. Our last class is 1 month from today. So February 10th is going to be our last class. So we are not here for a long time. So that's why it's important for us to utilize the time that we do have together. Again, a reminder, no class next Monday, the 17th. The college is closed. Yep. Okay, so we're going to we'll be focusing on the literacy subjects. Let's see here. This is just a little bit about me, a little bit of an overview. I already talked about this. Basically, we're going to work through an introductory unit together, and then from that, I'll have enough information about where you're at and what you need to work on to be able to direct you to your individualized course of study. We'll work from our Blackboard page and readtheory.org and quill.org. If at any time anybody has any questions, just raise your hand and I'm happy to stop. Okay, so check your email at least every class session at the beginning of the session. Make sure that you're comfortable logging on to Blackboard. You want to make sure that you're present at the start of class, as we'll be discussing, announcements or work from the day before. And you can manage your time however you see fit, but my recommendation is that you try to work on quill.org every class session, and you try to work on readtheory.org every class session, and you try to get through a lesson on Blackboard every class session. So you can work through that however you want to, but with Quill and with Read Theory, consistency is key. So it's better for you to get on there and work for 10 or 15 minutes every day than to get on there and work for an hour once every 2 weeks. So the more consistent that you can be with working on those sites, the more improvement you'll see in your skills. Study expectations and tips. Yeah, so basically once you provide me with some work, then I'll provide you with some feedback, and that will help me be able to guide your course of study from there. And you are expected to be here and be logged in from 9 to 11, Monday through Thursday, from any day that we have for our scheduled class sessions. Okay, so here are some additional resources that I wanted to make you aware of. And again, this syllabus is, well, it's on our Blackboard page, but I also emailed it to you. So any of these things that are like links, then you could just go to that syllabus to access those links. So the adult literacy program is an amazing program. I love it so much. It is a free program. So again, these are optional. So this is just optional recommended resources that I want to make sure that you're aware of, because I would rather you have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So sometimes people are like, well, I have to get this book or I have to join this program. No, not at all. None of these things are required, but they are just, I want to make sure that you're aware of them. Oh, and before we get to that, technology needs, like I said, you want to make sure that you have a laptop or a desktop is really the preferred device. And if you feel like your device is not adequate, then check in with Teresa and talk to her about some resources that she might have as a way of connecting you with something that will ensure that you're able to have a smooth experience here in class. Okay, so let me tell you about some things that are available to you should you choose to pursue them. One is the adult literacy program, and I'm actually going to invite Anne, she's a representative from the adult literacy program, to come to our class and just talk to you about her program. But essentially it's housed at DMAC Urban Campus, but it's all virtual. So their program uses a software that is called MindPlay, and if you get involved in the program, then they'll get you a username and a password for this website, and you will go to the website and work through their material. And basically you'll take a diagnostic test at the beginning, and then they provide you with lessons to help improve your reading skills. It's free to join. You have to commit to an hour a week working on MindPlay, and you're free to work on that during our class time if that's what you choose to do. So I say that because I don't want it to seem like you're like, well, I've got work, I've got this, I've got that. I don't really have time to take on another thing. I completely and totally get that. So that's why I allow you to work on it during class. So that way you can still utilize the program and reap the benefits, but you don't have to take on another time commitment. Like I said, I'll have Anne come to class and talk to you a little bit more about the adult literacy program. There are a couple of exam prep books. So this HiSET exam prep book, the second edition, that is the one that I like to use, and I've actually incorporated into our curriculum too. So you will still be getting some of the material from that book just by being in the class. But sometimes people like to have like hard copies of it. It's like physical copies, and it also addresses all 5 subjects. So there's a couple of them, this HiSET exam prep book, and then there's also this Kaplan HiSET exam prep book. So I just wanted to make you aware that those are available for you to purchase if you would like to. Also, I have some at Urban Campus and I have some at Southridge that you can check out. If you are able, you would set up an appointment with Teresa and you could check them out for the time that you're in our class, and then you just have to turn them in whenever you're done. But so those are available to you. Okay, DMAC online tutoring is such a cool thing. The links are there, and then also the phone number is there. I have heard such good things about this. Essentially, just call them and say, hey, I'm a HiSET student and I'm working on my writing essay and I would just like to have some time with a tutor. then they'll set up a time for you to have a virtual appointment with a tutor. So it's pretty awesome. Another thing that I wanted to make call to your attention is this pre-step for HiSET. This is through the DMAC website, and you'll need to create an account, but it's free to do so. And then once you have, then they have practice tests on there. So some of you have taken most of the practice tests that I have available. So this would be a great resource for you to go in here, click this link, create an account, and then they have HiSET practice tests. Readworks.org, Khan Academy, and Common Lit are also other websites that you could utilize to help practice and improve your skills. Okay, so Teresa, does anybody have any questions about any of this so far? If so, raise your hand. Okay, cool. Okay, we got to talk about the attendance situation. So Teresa kind of touched on it a little bit, but I have to emphasize this. So in the past, it has kind of, the attendance policy has kind of been up to the instructors. So it was instructor by instructor based on whatever the instructor preferred or was comfortable with. They could set the attendance policy for their class. Those are days of old. I believe it was last year. Then we are now have state and federal attendance guidelines that we have to abide by. So we no longer have the freedom to set the attendance policy for our classes. The attendance policy is set per state and federal initiatives, and we have to enforce it. So the policy is changed since we changed to these 5 weeks class sessions. So since there's such little time, then the time that we have together is important to be able to utilize, right? So the policy is that you cannot miss 2 classes in a row, and or you cannot miss more than 5 classes total. So if you find yourself in a situation where you've missed 2 classes total, or 2 classes consecutively, or 5 classes total within the 5-week cycle, then you are in violation of the attendance policy and you will be dropped. So like Teresa said, if you are not attending class at the end of this week, then I'll send an email and be like, you're in class, but you haven't been coming to class. What's up? Are you wanting to change classes? Do you want to continue? Did you have something come up that you can't take classes? Like, we'll try to figure out why you're not coming. And believe me, we get it. Like, things come up. So many times people's work schedule changes. So they're like, well, I can't come to class anymore because my work schedule changed. And yeah, that's totally understandable. But we'll want to work with you so that we can decide, well, do you want to transfer? Maybe if you can't take classes in the day anymore, do you want to try to take classes at night? And then we can work on getting you transferred to another class. Or, most of the time you just, that is the beauty of these 5-week sessions, is that they go by so fast that at any given time, you're never too far away from a new one starting. So I'll send an email at the end of the first week. Teresa will send an email sometime in the second week. And then if you are not coming to class, or at any time during the class session, if you are in violation of this, then you'll be dropped and you'll just need to get enrolled for the next cycle. So bottom line, please plan to attend every class. Here is something that I wanted to point out too, in case I forget later. If you need to schedule an official test, and you can do that during our class time, and that will count as your class that day. So if you get to the point where you're ready to take a qualifying test or an official test, and you need to do it during our class time, that is a-okay with me. Just make sure that I know that so that I can still give you your hours of attendance, and so that I know where you're at, and so that I can send you all the good vibes. Okay, so now let's talk about the grading criteria. So you're here in class so that we can get an idea of where you're at with your skills in the literacy subjects. And then once I feel like you are ready, then I will recommend you for qualifying. So then you'll go take a qualifying test. And if you pass that qualifying test, then you will go take an official test, which is at an official testing center at one of the DMAC locations. So class, practice tests, qualifying tests, official tests. For each of the subjects, for all 5 subjects, you have to go through that process. And you can't take writing or math last. So you can't save those 2 tests for last. You have to get those done up front. So sometimes people say like, well, okay, I went to take a qualifying test, but I didn't pass. What if I don't pass? Well, if you don't pass your qualifying test, then you just come back to class and you practice more. And then whenever we're ready, whenever you feel like we feel like you're ready, then you go try to qualifying again. There are 4 different state approved qualifying tests. So let's say that you go the first time and you take version A, then whenever you go back the next time, then you won't be given that same version. You'll be given another version, B. And so if you don't qualify, then you just go back to class and you practice more. And whenever we feel like you're ready, then you go try it again. So then let's say that though that you did qualify and then you go take your official and you don't pass the official. That happens sometimes. It's disheartening, but it does happen. So you go take your official and you don't pass. You have 3 attempts per subject per calendar year. So if you don't pass the official, then you go back to class. You practice more, you build those skills, you learn from the experience. And then once we're ready, then we'll have you take a qualifying test again. And then once you're done, pass the qualifying test, then you go take the official test again. So you can take the official test 3 times in a calendar year. So the official test, so your qualifying tests and the practice tests that you take here in this class are going to be like there's 25 questions and you have to get 20 of them right in order to pass. So it's going to be based more like on the official test is based on a scaled score. So you can score anywhere from 1 to 20 on the official test. And that's not necessarily like there's 50 questions and you have to get 20 of them correct. It's not like that. Like I said, it's a scaled score. So some questions, so there's 3 different versions of the official test, and some are harder than the other ones. So the ones that are more difficult, then you don't have to score as many correct on. The ones that are a little bit easier, you have to score more on. That's really about, I just know enough to be dangerous about the scaling system, but you can get a 1 or to a 20 and you have to get an 8 or higher to pass, a scaled score of 8 or higher to pass that test. So if you go in, take your reading official test and you score an 8, you passed. That's good. Now, there are a couple of exceptions. One is that the writing test is the only test of all 5 of them that actually has 2 parts to it. So for the writing test, you will have a multiple choice section where you're given somebody else's writing and there's intentional errors in there, and then you have to choose the option that would fix the error. And then you also have to write an essay. So for the multiple choice section, you have to get 8 or higher. And for the essay, you could get 1 to 6 and you have to score a 2 or higher to pass. And I'll show you on our Blackboard page, I have the like the grading criteria or the rubric that they use when grading your essay. So that can kind of give you an idea of what it is that they're looking for. So if you, with the writing, if you score an 8 on the multiple choice and a 1 on the essay, you didn't pass. You have to go back to class, go qualify again, go schedule your official again, and retake both sections. It's not like you could just pass the essay and not the multiple choice, or the multiple choice and not the essay. You have to get 8 and 2. That's the passing score for the writing test. So that said, your composite score, or whenever you're all done, the total of all 5 of your tests, not including the essay portion, just the multiple choice portions, the total of all 5 have to add up to 45. So if you go in and get 8 on every single test, then at the end, your 8 times 5 is 40. That's not 45. So you have to, if you just score an 8 on the reading section, then that's fine. You pass. That's a passing score. But you're going to have to score more than 8 on another test, like your social studies test, for example, in order to make up for those points. So you have to score 8 or higher on the multiple choice portions to pass. But at the very end, your total has to be 45 or higher. Any questions about that? Okay. All right, let's move it on along then. Okay, classroom conduct, let's just be nice, okay? Let's just treat each other with respect and not be rude. And I think we'll get along just fine. Basically, really the main thing too is just make sure that you keep yourself muted, your mic and your video. And if you have a question or if you want to talk, but then we can talk, like we can do that. But if everybody doesn't have their mics on during the whole class time, then there's just going to be too much background noise. So it's just kind of a common courtesy in this virtual environment to keep yourself muted unless you're talking. If you have a question or you want to visit, then just raise your hand and then I'll call on you and you can unmute yourself and we can just chat about whatever you'd like. But in general, unless you're talking, then keep yourself muted. You will work with Teresa to schedule your officials and your qualifying. So we'll talk about it in class. And whenever I feel like you're ready to do a qualifying test, then I will let Teresa know that you have been recommended for qualifying. Teresa will reach out to you via email to try to get that scheduled. So that you'll work with her to schedule that. And same thing with the official test. So after you pass a qualifying test, then you'll work with Teresa to schedule your official test. So if you can't make it to a test, like if you have a test scheduled and you're not going to be able to make it, this doesn't usually happen, but sometimes it does, then just make sure that you notify Teresa that you're not going to be able to be there so that she can let the proctor know and that she can work with you to get it rescheduled. Okay, so class cancellation procedure. If class is canceled for the day, then I will email you. So please make sure that you plan to check your email frequently and especially at the start of each class session. So the email that I use to communicate this virtual class link is the email that I have on file, and that is where I will send any notifications if I have to cancel class for the day, which happens, especially this time of year, because you know what happens? My kids get sick and then they come home and get each other sick and then they come home and get me sick. So sickness is really what happens around here from January till about April, it seems like. So sometimes I do have to cancel class, and if I do, then I will email you. Okay, let's see here. I don't think this is really anything we need to go over. Okay, so this is just like an estimated or kind of a sample of how you could work through the class from now until the end of till our last class session. But essentially, like I said, we'll work through an introductory unit together. That'll give me an idea of where you're at and what you need to be working on. And then we'll just have an individualized path of study for you for every day that you're here. Okay, so we made it through the syllabus, y'all. Yay! Everybody clap your hands. Okay. Okay, so another just quick kind of note for you is that so if you send me a chat, then I'll get back to you. I will. This is a pretty big class, so, and I'm trying to chat with each of you individually. So I appreciate your patience. I try to get back to you right away, but you know, I'm also managing it myself. So also, if you get disconnected and then have to reconnect, then anything that was in the chat from the first time that you're connected gets erased. So if you sent me a chat and I haven't gotten back to you, and then you get disconnected and have to reconnect, then go ahead and resend that chat to me, because I won't be able to see it anymore. It automatically erases. Okay, so we got to circle back around and talk about the attendance policy. Please know that if you miss 2 classes in a row, or if you miss 5 classes total at any time during the 5-week cycle, that you will be dropped. Now, make note of this, okay? So our cycles for this semester are already planned. So this first cycle, that's what we're in right now, it goes from today until February 10th, okay? Then the second cycle is going to go from February 21st to March 31st. There's no classes the week of March 14th through 17th because of spring break. And then the last cycle of this spring semester goes from April 4th to May 5th. So it's important for you to note those things, because let's say that something comes up and you end up getting dropped. Have it on your radar that, okay, well, I had to end up getting dropped, or I had to drop out for the first cycle, but I know that another cycle is starting February 21st. So you would email Teresa and be like, hey, it didn't work out this cycle, but I really do want to get back in the swing of things and get involved for the next cycle. Can you put me on the list to be enrolled for the cycle that starts February 21st? So these dates, I want to make sure that you have in your mind, because stuff happens, stuff comes up. We get it, I get it, it's completely understandable, but I want you to know what these dates are, so that if something does happen, then you know what they are, so that you can re-engage. And which would literally just be like reaching out to Teresa to tell her, like, I want to get signed up for the next cycle. Any questions? Okay. Okay, so just kind of a special note. I really like to make sure that I draw your attention to this, especially this time of year, because of what I was just saying, that, seems like there's a lot of sickness that goes around this time of year. My son is sick today, and I was like, I can't miss the first day of class though. So we figured something out for him, but I'm like, yeah, it happens. So occasionally I'll have to cancel class. And in that event, then I'll always try to give you as much notice as possible. But please be patient with me regarding, some unforeseen circumstances. I can't control the timing of somebody getting sick, or if there's an emergency or something like that. So if we have to cancel class for the day, then either Teresa or I will send you an email, and it's going to be to the same email that we sent the welcome email to. So if that's not what you prefer, then let me know what one you do, what email address you want for us to have on file for you. And make sure that you're checking your email at the very beginning, like maybe right before class starts or at the very beginning of class every day, so that you're aware if I would have to cancel class, and that notice is going to come to your email. So whenever we don't have class, like if I have to cancel class that day, then we won't be meeting in this virtual classroom. So we won't be logged on and meeting here, but you will still have access to all of our content on Blackboard and quill.org and readtheory.org. So I would still encourage you, even though we're not meeting that day in the virtual classroom, to continue your studies if you're able. Just treat it like we did have class, but you're just not logged on here. You can still work on Blackboard. You can still work on Quill and Read Theory. And also, I wanted to make sure that you know that if I cancel class, then that's not counted as an absence against you. That's not your deal. That's my deal. So don't worry about if I have to cancel class about that going against your total for attendance. It would not. Okay, so here is a special note. Make sure that you mark this somewhere, put it in your calendar, do something so that you're aware. We are not having class on Monday next week. So next week, Monday, January 17th, 2022, no class. We're not meeting in this virtual classroom. So after this week, then our next week we'll meet on the 18th, which is Tuesday, the 19th, which is Wednesday, and the 20th, which is Thursday. So no class next Monday. Okay, so I am going to share my screen with you now, and we're going to go to our Blackboard page, and I'm going to kind of walk you through our Blackboard page, and then we're going to look at this reading test at a glance, which I'll talk to you about what it is. But just so you know, whenever I'm sharing my screen, then I can't see the chat. So whenever I'm sharing, if you want me to stop, like you have a question and you need my attention, you want me to stop, then hit that raise your hand button. I can hear that, but I just can't see it when I'm sharing my screen. So if you hit the raise your hand button, then I'll say, oh, okay, I hear somebody has a question. Like, go ahead and unmute yourself and let's talk about it. Or if you just have something that you want to tell me, but that's not quite as time sensitive, then you can go ahead and send me the chat and I'll get to it as soon as I'm done sharing my screen. But like I said, when I'm sharing my screen, I cannot see the chat. So right now I'm going to share my screen with you, and we are going to go to our Blackboard page. So whenever you log in to Blackboard, it's going to look something like this, except for obviously it'll say your name here. Once you get logged in, you're going to come down here and click courses, and it's going to populate a whole list of courses, which is going to be different depending on how long you've been in the program. But you want to scroll through this list and find our class, which is 26440. Okay. And if you come over here to this side, so before you favorite it, then it's just going to look like this. It's going to have like this blank star. Once you click that star, it'll turn it purple, and that adds it to your favorites. So it moves it up to the very top of the list, which is handy because then you don't have to dig through that list every time you log in. So I highly recommend that you star it to favorite it. Okay, so then you will click on the class, the clickable link, and I'm going to change it. This is more what your view will look like. So the first page that you come to is announcements. Okay, so there's our announcement. This is our class link. This is our class times. These are the first and the last day. We don't have class next Monday. Okay, cool. So the very first page is always going to be announcements. If you come over here to this far left, okay, then yours might look like this. I get this a lot, and students are like, yeah, I don't have one. I can't go anywhere but announcements. Okay, so this is what you do. If yours happens to look like this, then you just see this little gray triangle right here. Just click that and it will expand. So this is an expandable and collapsible panel. So the first, and this is how you're going to navigate through the page. So the first link is what you will automatically come to, which is announcements. The next link is the syllabus, which we've already gone to. But I want you to know that it's here on our Blackboard page because there's some of the, if you ever need to reference it, and also because they're links. So if you need to go to the links, then you can come here and access the syllabus. There's this Your Instructor page, which is what I was telling you about at the beginning of class. Just kind of tells you a little bit more about me. And then there is course content. So course content is where you're going to go most of the time. So most of the time when you log into Blackboard, you're going to find our class. And you're going to come over here and click course content. Okay. This is the link to that video that I showed you earlier on in class. So if you need that for your future reference, it's available for you here. Again, the announcements that has the link to our classroom. But if you keep scrolling down, this is really the meat and potatoes, okay? So as you see, we have for each subject, we have a folder. We also have a folder for vocabulary practice. If improving your vocabulary is going to improve your reading and your writing, okay? So this link, this vocabulary practice is again something that I would say to try to incorporate, and even if you just do it for a little while at a time, the more consistently you do it, then the better off you'll be. But it's a link, so you click the vocabulary practice link, and as you'll see, there are, so here is the different groups, and then here is it's a quiz that you can take. So you click on it, here's the question, and then click on what you think, and then next question, click on what you think, next. So you see it gives you your score down here. There's 40 questions in each of the quizzes. So these quizzes are testing academic group word list group 1. Okay, you can also click here and it will just show you like a dictionary entry of all of the words that are being tested. So this is a great way to review and to practice. And I say that I would work with a group of words until you can get a quiz score of 40 out of 40. And then once you've done that, then you can move on to the next group. But so there's a folder for that vocabulary practice. And then there is a folder for our read theory information, our quill information. And then Common Lit is another website that you can use, and I've given you information here on how to access it if you want to. We don't work on Common Lit too much in this class, mostly just because I feel like you're getting, there's only 24 hours in the day, you know, and like I don't want to overwhelm you any more than you probably already are with all these different websites. But it is a website that I want to make you aware of is available to you. And here is a couple things about Common Lit is that it has a feature for annotating, which annotating is a big part of close reading, which is a reading improvement strategy. And so it allows you, it's all on your screen, and it'll allow you to highlight, to make notes, to circle. So it really allows you to interact with the material. So it has the annotation tool. It also has a read aloud feature, which is another great way to improve your reading, is to follow along while somebody else reads out loud. That helps with your fluency. So there's folders that have the information for each of those sites on how to get connected with my class. But so let's talk about reading for right now. So if you go into the, so whatever it is that you're working on, you would just go into that folder. So let's say you're working on reading. Then within the folders, there are different units. So we'll start with the introduction unit. So the first thing that I wanted to show you is this test at a glance. So this says 2021 because they haven't released the 2022 yet. So this is the most recent version that I have available to me. So this links you to the HiSET website, and this is a document, this test at a glance, that shows you, gives you an overview of each of the official tests. So like we said, you're here in class to do like practice and pre-tests, and then once you are ready, then I'll recommend you for qualifying. You go take a qualifying test. Then once you've passed that, then you go take the official test. So this gives you an idea of what the official test is going to be. So one thing I do want to call to your attention right now and point out is that the practice tests that you take in class and your qualifying tests are going to be shorter than your official test. So you go take a qualifying test in reading, and it might be 25 or 30 questions. But then you see here, you go take your official test, and it's 50 questions. So just keep that in mind whenever you're going in to take your official. So this document gives you an overview of the format, the time that you have to take it, the content categories, and then like really what is actually being tested. It goes into a little bit more details about those process categories and like, well, so they're going to be testing your ability to comprehend. Well, what does that mean, right? So this gives an overview, and this document has the test at a glance for all 5 of the subjects. So this is something I want to make sure that you are aware of is available to you. And if I was sitting in your shoes, then before I went to take the official, then I would give this a look over. So I have an idea of how long I have to take, how many questions there's going to be, just to give you an idea of what you're getting into. Okay, so that is the test at a glance for reading, and that same document is linked in each of the folders. So like in the writing unit 1 introduction folder, then see it's the same document. So you would go down to writing. So writing, you have, they call it 61 questions because there's 60 multiple choice questions, 1 essay, and you have 2 hours to get through both. And you can do them in whichever order you want to. But so this is a great document that just kind of really breaks down what is being tested on the official test. So I want to make sure that you are aware that this test at a glance is available to you. Let's go back to the reading folder. Okay, so when you go into the reading folder, the next item down after the test at a glance is a sample reading questions. Okay, so if you click on this PDF and open it up, then it gives you a passage, and then it gives you sample items, like 5 questions. Okay, and then the answers are provided for you. So this, I don't feel like we have enough time right now. So this is probably where we'll get started tomorrow. So then after that, I will have you work on this reading pretest, but that will be for tomorrow. So something else I wanted to show you about the actual lessons on Blackboard are that each of these lessons are self-contained. So let's say that you're doing context clues. So for each lesson, you're going to have a video or 2, sometimes more. So you'll watch the video. Okay.
So I've got my essay written.
Watch the video.
My name is Josie Benson.
Okay. You have your little notebook and your little workstation. You'll make notes as you're watching the videos. Then click on the supplemental materials. So here are some information to review, and then you have a chance to practice each one. And then I always provide the answers for you. I think it's important for you to be able to get that instant feedback. And also this allows for you to, if you're just having trouble sleeping at 1 a.m. one night and you're like, hey, I think I'm gonna go do the mood and tone lesson. You have everything that you need here. Okay, so you have an instructional material, then you have an opportunity to practice, and so that it's that same way for each lesson. Okay, so that said, I'm going to stop sharing the screen. And I wanted to open up the floor for questions. Does anybody have questions about anything? Does anybody have any comments that you would like to share for the greater good? Okay, well, I am going to, I think that we're at a good spot to stop, and I also want to just make sure that I leave some time at the end of class in case you would prefer to just chat with me privately if you have any questions come up. But what is important to do for today for sure is, one, make sure that you're comfortable logging onto our Blackboard page. So if you don't know your username and password, email Teresa. She'll email you back with your username and password. And then every day for class, you're going to want to make sure that you get logged onto this virtual classroom, and that you also open up a separate browser and you get logged onto our Blackboard page. And then I will be directing you to lessons on our Blackboard page. So it's important that you're comfortable getting logged on there. So that is a priority for today, that if you are not comfortable, familiar with that, that you become so. And then also, it's important that you're familiar with the private chat feature. So if you look at your screen, bottom right, there's a purple tab that has white arrows on it. If you click that, it will expand the screen, and it'll show you a list of everybody who is in the participants in the class. At the very top, you'll see my name, Paige L. Keller, underneath the moderator section. If you go to the right, you'll see a circle that has 3 dots in it. If you click that, it's a drop-down menu. So click that, and then the drop-down menu, hit send chat message. That's how you can send chats directly to me. So we have about 8 minutes left of class. We're at a good spot to stop. I am going to stick around here for the next 8 minutes. So if you have questions, concerns, anything that you want to talk to me about, then I'll be here for the next 7 minutes. Otherwise, if you're feeling good about things, I'm feeling good about things, you can feel free to log off for the day, and I will plan on seeing you here in the morning.
See you tomorrow.
See you later. Have a good afternoon.
Okay, bye. You
Bye-bye.
too, bye.